Hello, welcome to Tony's Bonsai. There's a frost on the ground, there's a load of beech trees that need some pruning done, so let's get stuck in and work my way through a few of them. This is one of the largest of the group. I've made quite a cut there. I think it went into a sort of twin trunk, but this is quite ugly. It's got a long branch with nothing really happening on it, and ultimately I think I need to cut that off like that. And I will do that, but this isn't the time of year to remove a full limb, so I won't do that yet, but that's definitely one to go in the future. And in fact, just to hold it back for the time being, I'll just remove that. I don't want that growing anymore, and I know it's definitely going to be removed, so I may as well cut it back. Now this branch here is interesting. It's got some nice movement to it, but it just needs a bit of wire applying. As I say, we have some nice shape here along this branch. I like this turn, but I just want the top of it to move out in that direction like that. So there we go. I've just got my pliers just to allow me just to twist and bend that round a touch, and I'm much happier with the new orientation of that branch. There's a pair of branches, and these are the lowest two branches of the tree. It's not particularly interesting. There's nothing happening down here, everything is happening at the end, and I suspect I'll end up removing this in favour of some smaller branches that develop from the trunk. But for the time being, I just leave this on, let this grow, to hopefully add some extra taper and thickness to the lower part of the tree. This tree is by no means the thickest, but I quite like the character and shape of it. Just these lower branches, I don't want that to get too thick. I like the position of it. I'll just take the end off it, just to stop it growing too long. Likewise round there. And the same with this one here. They can just be cut back. This one, again, can just be nipped. And then all this stuff up at the top, I'll just leave this to grow on, pull plenty of sap up the tree, and see what happens to this in the future. I like this one. This one's got some really nice structure to it. It's got some lovely movement here. This is all very natural. This could be my favourite tree of the set, actually. I'm really liking this. But I am just going to cut these branches back so that I don't want this getting too thick. So I'll just trim those back just to control the vigour of this branch. I've got another one round at the back with a sort of similar issue. So I'll just take that one back as well. This is an example of a good branch. It's not got much taper to it though, and I think by cutting it off there, I'll add some taper that, hopefully. I'll leave a bit of a stub because it is winter. I can always trim that stub back. A lovely branch here. Again, these are beautiful. And all I'm doing is same sort of thing, just controlling the thickness of these developing branches. Now this one I'll leave. This is a lot thinner, so I'll not take anything off that. And I've got two branches here that kind of cross a bit. My temptation is, obviously you think, oh, I'll leave that thicker one, but I've got a branch here, I've got a nice branch here, and these two are like opposite each other, but I really like this one. So which one do I keep? Do I have these two coming? You can have bar branches, but I'm not a fan, so that one can go. I'll trim these back on another date. And this one up at the top here, lovely branch again, but don't want it growing too long, so I'll just trim that back, and that's me done there with this tree. I think that's a cracker. This one is not really so interesting, but we've got two branches here very close to one another, so I'll remove the small one. Got a nice little branch coming there, that could be useful. I don't want this to thicken up too much, so I'll take that back, and the rest of it I just leave to grow on and see what happens. If anyone's wondering if this is the right time of year or not to be doing this work, these beech are tough as old boots. They'll be absolutely fine with this. We're just coming out of frost, and we've got 2 weeks of really mild weather coming up, so there's no problem. This is very long, straight, quite boring. Need to add some interest to this, so I'll just take the end off it just to make it easier for me to work around. So I want to wire this. The rest of the tree I'm fairly happy with, but I don't want this trunk at the back to get too thick, so I don't want it sort of out competing the main trunk, because the main trunk's got a nice line to it which I want to maintain. I don't generally show too much wiring because it can be quite boring to see, but I do like to show the odd piece, especially if it's thicker wire like this, which I really enjoy working with. I'm going to have a go at manipulating this thick branch at the back as well, so I'm going round with a nice thick piece of wire. This is 6.5mm, so this will really allow me to manipulate and hold these branches. You can forget about trying to manipulate beech branches with, you know, thick branches like this with thin wire. It just doesn't work. There we go. Let's get that round here. And you really do get better at wiring the more you practice. So that's a good solid hold. And the trunk slopes at an angle this way, which is good. But I want this branch here to just move that way. That's good. Maybe just a little bit back. So I've not added much. It's quite subtle. There. So it's just a little sort of S-curve, and moving the whole branch in this direction it just makes it more interesting. And as for this back one, I think that wants to go away. So if I can just take the branch round like that, that works really well actually. I'm happy with that. I've just had a break for a coffee, which was very nice. Thanks, Dad. Enjoyed that. Now this tree, it's got some nice fine branches which I really like. Again, I don't want these growing too vigorously and getting too big, so I'll just prune them back a bit. This is a nice branch, good shape. Again, this is good. Some really nice healthy growth on these trees. I think I've been quite lucky with them. But what I do with the top here, it kind of leans over in a bit of an awkward way. One of these could potentially be the new leader in time, I think. I can't bend that. It's too hard to bend. I mean, this could potentially be a chop, and that could become the new apex of the tree. Those decisions can be left for the future though. All I wanted to do at the moment was just to control the vigour and the growth of these lower branches really. Another nice tree with some good low branching, which I like. These two are forming bar branches at the base, but I don't mind it on this tree for some reason. I think that's okay. I'm just going to nip these branches back just to control their development again. You're beginning to see the pattern of what I'm doing now. I'm really just stopping these lower branches from getting too thick. When we go up further, I'm not sure what I'll end up doing with this. Maybe removing that main leader there and turning this into the new apex. I suspect that is what will happen. Either that or this one becomes the new apex. That's also a possibility. So there's different options there. But I like the option of this one here. And if that's going to happen in the future, which I think it is, I may as well get this twist in it now by using some wire. What I will mention is, I know Xavier loves me mentioning this, so I will do, because I'm wanting to twist in this direction, it's very important that the wire is applied in that direction. So I've got a couple of buds down there that I want to avoid as well. So I'm kind of weaving in between these buds. Up and around, and then round we go. And because I've applied this wire in the direction that I want the rotation of the branch to happen, it just makes everything so much easier and sweeter. So hopefully now I should be able to just rotate that up like that. Like that. So that's quite interesting. I could possibly also add a piece to here coming around, and I think that would help me get that twist in place. So I'm going to do that. Because obviously I need to wrap this around here, all I do is I continue this wire around like this, just watching for that little bud there which I've missed, and then the other end of the wire comes nice and tightly up this trunk here. You won't see Nigel Saunders doing any work like this. He's strictly a clip and grow man. And one of the great things about bonsai is, you know, everybody's free to practice the art of bonsai however they want. There are no rules of you must do this. You know, we're free to do whatever we enjoy, and I love applying and bending wire and manipulating trees. It's part of the fun for me. So now that I've done that, hopefully I'll be able to rotate this one down like that and this one up a bit more. So that's worked quite well, that. There. Excellent. So this is now the natural new leader. It's going to work really well, and I think this design of this tree is, it's going to work really nicely in the future. And so from here now, we've got this nice, interesting movement coming all the way up the tree. You know, there's a tiny outside chance that I'll leave some of this on, even cut it back to there and leave this branch. But who knows? That's a decision I don't have to make now. But I'm glad that I put this wire on and reorientated this branch. And obviously I don't prune anything off this, because this becomes now the new big sap puller. That's the plan anyway. I've got the odd tree like this that's really held on to a lot of its leaves. I can't be bothered defoliating it all at the moment, so I think I'll leave those for the time being and just focus on the ones that don't have so many leaves on them. This is the first tree that I've come to that I don't really like. I don't think I made great decisions in terms of the branch selection with this one. I'm not really sure what will happen to this in the future. I think it might be a case for chopping this off here or there, letting this run into the new leader, possibly. I don't know. I'm just leaving that for the time being because I've got no inspiration for that one. And here's another one. There's no branches, there's just the continuation of the trunk. So it would be daft to do anything to that. That just has to be left and see what happens to that next year. This is quite a nice tree. It's got some good branches radiating all around it. I want to just hold back some of these branches though from developing too much. So I'll just take the ends off them like this. And then got two branches. Well, I like this branch. We've got one just behind it coming from the same point, which has to go. So I'll get rid of that. And I do like the way that this tapers up. The cut didn't heal amazingly, but that should do better next year. But this branch competes with this. So I'm thinking if I can just add a piece of wire just to bend that down. I've applied a piece of wire to this straight branch there, and it's not too thick a piece. Just by doing that, just lets me manipulate that branch out of the way. And I did put I wrapped it around to this. I can just add a little bit of movement to that as well while I'm there, may as well. There we go. The sun's just dropped down below the horizon and I can feel it getting a bit colder, and I can feel a big pan of carrot and coriander soup that I made this morning calling my name. So I'm going to call it for today. I'm going to have to come back and work on the rest of these beech another time, but I hope you enjoyed just seeing what I'm up to and how I'm dealing with these beech trees, my thought processes. As always, thanks for joining me. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.